Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Films from Mars, where we talk about all sorts of physical media, Blu-rays, 4Ks, and cult classics. Today, we're going to do a little primer for Criterion sales, and a lot of people always ask me what to pick up during the sales. Now, they have sales throughout the year, but the two big ones at Barnes & Nobles are in July and November, usually. I also have flash sales throughout the year, and just a great way to pick up and start a collection. I take a lot of risks with Criterion Collection. Obviously, I know a lot about some movies, but the sales are a great way to just pick something up, try it out for $20, and see if you like it. So many great movies to explore, so many different genres. Here's 5 that I think are essential to pick up. First one, we're going to start with Guy Maddin's My Winnipeg. Now, if you don't know anything about Guy Maddin, he's considered the Canadian David Lynch. Yes, he's got a dreamlike quality, but Lynch is definitely on his own, and Guy Maddin has a unique voice himself. There's many short films, I believe, are on some YouTube channels, and he's done many other great movies, but this one in particular is one of my favorites. The trailer for this is fantastic. I constantly just watch the trailer because I just like it so much. But this is a quasi documentary slash folk tale, I guess, of Guy Maddin's life in Winnipeg. It's super quirky. The visuals are incredible. It's kind of his love letter to his hometown, mixing that documentary style with fantasy and, memory and humor. It has a great cameo by the actress is escaping my name from Detour. She didn't make many movies, and somehow he got her for this. If you like mockumentaries, if you like David Lynch, you like, films of Man Ray, stuff like that, highly recommend My Winnipeg. It's super fun, and this is phenomenal Criterion Collection. I saw this movie years before a physical release came out, and I could not wait for the day to purchase this. So, great sale pickup if you find your way to get that. Next up, one of my favorite movies that I watched in 2025 was AManEscaped, Robert Bresson's prison break movie. It's based on a true story of a French resistance fighter who's imprisoned by the Nazis, and he meticulously plans an escape. Every movement, every sound, every decision matters. Bresson strips like the filmmaking down to the essentials. There's no flashy action. There's no dramatic experiences. It's really just a guy going through the motions of how he's going to escape. You don't know how he's going to do it. And the rhythm and the feeling of the movie, I just could not believe it. I watched it somewhat late at night, and I was enthralled by it. I ended up being my favorite movie that I watched of last year. Really recommend it. It's based on the memoirs of a real-life prisoner that escaped. This is also listed on the Sight and Sound's top 100 movies of all time. He uses non-professional actors. It probably is the greatest prison movie ever made. Prison break movie, that is. You could see the influences in a lot of things. I think the rhythm of his shot progression in this movie, I remember reading it or seeing an interview with Christopher Nolan where when he made Dunkirk, he watched this as an influence. I don't think it's talked about it enough. I watch a lot of the Criterion Closets and other people. No one brings this up, and I really recommend it. AManEscaped. Next up, I'm a gigantic film noir, neo-noir fan, hitman, gangster sort of stuff. And one of my favorite finds was Blast of Silence from 1961. He's a lonely hitman in New York City around Christmas and New Year's time. He has to carry out an assassination, and during the Christmas spirit and such, the isolation becomes, increasingly unbearable. Great movie, shot in New York, shot cheaply. It's like 77 minutes. It stars and directed by Alan Baran. It's got a lot of great quirky characters. Like there's this really, a lot of these, noir gangster movies always have this kind of like henchman or just like guy they go to for advice. There's a really good one in this. I think he plays with a rat the whole time. You know, first person. You know, it's like narrated. It has like a hypnotic quality to it. You know, just a perfect movie if you want to get into that sort of genre or feeling. Gritty New York, you know, low budget. Can't stress enough how good this Blast of Silence is. This was sort of forgotten for years, and I'm really glad it's back out, and more people are watching it. So that's Blast of Silence, 1961, I think. Yep. All right, next up, we have one of my favorite movies, Finds, a movie that I bought on Criterion DVD way back in the day and never watched it. It just sat on the shelf. I ended up being able to see this in the theater when they did a re-release a couple years back, and that's 1960's Peeping Tom. This is championed by Martin Scorsese a lot. This is Michael Powell. Michael Powell and Pressburger did many amazing movies, you know, Colonel Blimp, Red Shoes, Black Narcissus, etc. This he did on his own, and it pretty much almost ruined his career. He didn't really make too many movies afterwards. Definitely questionable for the time. And people just, I don't think, got it. So what's the premise? He's a shy cameraman. He secretly films women and murders them. He captures the terror on their face, and you know he's kind of an incel kind of character. Again, I always quote Taxi Driver because I love it so much, but you can definitely see like the Travis Bickle qualities in the main character here. So he works at a movie studio, and you know his side project is this, you know, murdering people and showing their fright, and he's got this creepy upstairs room, and then there's sort of a back room where he has his film lab and he screens his, you know, films. There's a woman downstairs that's sort of like infatuated with him a little bit, and she has like a blind mother. Just really, really good stuff. It looks incredible. This 4K transfer for this is just, you know, knocked it out of the park. One of the early, you know, proto slashers. You know, Martin Scorsese's editing partner, Thelma Schumacher, was married to Michael Powell. So on the disc, there's plenty of information, Scorsese and her talking about this film. Really great discovery. I'm really glad this is back out in beautiful transfer. Great pickup, great blind buy. If you like horror movies, if you like kind of that weird Taxi Driver, you know, incel kind of flavor with a character, you know, go for Peeping Tom. And last off, we have another find that I had not seen until recently. Jonathan Demme, you know, famous for Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense, Silence of the Lambs, numerous other great films. Something Wild, 1988. Just an underrated 80s movie, in my opinion. Jeff Daniels plays this straight-laced businessman. He thinks he's having like an ordinary day, and then he runs into this free-spirited woman played by Melanie Griffith, who kind of just brings him on this journey. It's a romantic comedy. It has this sort of, you know, Bonnie and Clyde-ish, you know, Sid and Nancy kind of flavor to it. Maybe not as, you know, romantic, but just here's a normal guy that just goes on an adventure. What I really, really like about this movie is the music. The soundtrack is fantastic. The Feelies are in the movie doing a couple songs, which is fun, but the soundtrack is constantly on my playlist of things. It's great to see Jeff Daniels in a really early role. You know, I think a lot of people saw him first in, you know, Dumb and Dumber or maybe Gettysburg or something, but you know, here's a bit earlier in 1988, and the guy's just great. I think he's sort of underappreciated as an actor, or maybe was, and maybe he's become more appreciated over the years. Another great thing is this is one of Ray Liotta's first roles, and he plays kind of the villain that's kind of chasing them down. Really fun stuff. Um, Definitely, broke out his career, and then 2 years later he did, Goodfellas, and the rest is history. Um, Jonathan Demme obviously went on to do Silence of the Lambs. I can't think of the movie that he did with, well, you know, just had a great career. It always had music present in a lot of his movies, and it's always fun to see that. You know, great indie film of the 1980s. Again, I don't think it's spoke about enough. I think it's a perfect blend of that, romance, comedy, road movie sort of thing. So if that's your flavor, highly recommend picking this up. So there you go. Got 5 movies: My Winnipeg, Man Escaped, Blast of Silence, Peeping Tom, and Something Wild. Do yourself a favor. Next sale, next flash sale, next Barnes & Noble sale, throw these in your queue, take a risk, and watch them. Criterion, there's so many more to explore that I'll talk about in the next few episodes. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and remember, keep spinning those discs.